It is pushed, and we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our little hangout session, our little Q&A, our live stream. Apparently, there's somebody getting arrested, or somebody's choking on a chicken bone, or something's burning down. Those are usually, yeah. Welcome to our Q&A. We do this every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We answer your questions that Patreon members, so thank you to everybody who is a Patreon member or a YouTube member, has asked earlier today, and we will feature those on the screen, as well as the rest of you who get in the chat and just put a bunch of question marks in front of your question, and then Leslie picks that, and we talk about that too. We're going to talk about how many switches and knobs and features you should have on a guitar tonight. So that's going to be, think about how you feel about that. How many knobs and switches should be on your guitar? How many do you need personally? And so that'll be part of our conversation. So get thinking about that. We're going to talk about guitar stuff till 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we are going to talk about all kinds of other stuff off topic after 9 o'clock. As always, these are ad-free live streams, and I need to Dungeons and Dragons my phone.
Why don't you do that? I don't know how Chris Hendricks is here because he's traveling with his family.
Oh, he's like, Amanda, you drive. I have to
watch YouTube.
Stream? Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I would imagine so.
I was surprised to see him here.
So we're going to, by the way, all of these are no ads live streams. So you can support the channel by buying pickups and buying merch. And you can use a super chat in the live stream, which is also very fun. If you give us a super chat, we'll drop what we're doing and try to answer that as quickly as possible. A couple other news related things. Next weekend, which is the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, something. Go ahead.
Super chat from John on 16 can't play any. Roddy, hey, do you carry any of those TTG guitars? No one told me to ask that. You didn't hear the last live stream. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we do. We actually do carry those here, which we're going to get to in a minute. So next week, we are going to be at the Amigo Guitar Show in Nashville, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So come check us out. We're going to have a bunch of pickups. We're going to have a bunch of guitars to play. We're going to have a couple of guitars to buy because we've got 2 of those Texas Toast guitars available that we will have with us. And I'm hoping that one of you will take one of those home very soon. Also, hopefully by next weekend, my goal, it has to be done. By next weekend, the goal is to have, not the goal, it will be done, is to have the pre-sale on the website ready. Chris doesn't let Amanda drive. She gets to type.
Oh, so he dictates.
That's hilarious. I love that.
That's funny. So anyways, we're going to have the pre-sale for the next round of Texas Toast Dylan Talks Tone exclusives on the website. And so I want it done before the guitar show next weekend in case somebody says, well, I really like this, but I would rather have it in this color or et cetera. Mm-hmm. And so that way somebody could pre-order something. So we're going to have a pre-order. We're probably going to leave it open for like 30 days. And then we're going to build some guitars. So, yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And what else do we got? We have a drop this Saturday coming. Some stuff I've never done before. Color combinations and pickups that I've never done that you're going to love. The video will be out Saturday. I'm shooting it tomorrow. And it's going to be pretty awesome. So that'll come out sometime Saturday. And, yeah, there you go. And I guess now we can get into our questions and talk about guitar stuff and answer questions. You get the first one racked up, and I'm going to pour myself some Buffalo Trace.
Squeaky. All right, Roberts. Hello, Leslie and Dylan. I'll listen in tomorrow.
expand your tonal palette, or so they say. Have you heard of the Fender TBX tone control? 250K megapot that switches at 5 o'clock. I'm not sure I want my telly bridge brighter, but it comes with a Strat type knob. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so this is what kind of inspired the thumbnail tonight. That TBX tone circuit is a thing. People liked it for a long time. Reverend does something not the same, but similar. I don't like that stuff. I don't find a use for it. That's just me. I like to keep things simple. I don't see a need to cut bass and boost treble. I like to have the pickup as straight as possible, and a low pass or a high pass filter or low pass filter is fine enough for me. I'm totally fine with that. So I don't really care. And I'm not one to have a bunch of like pickup selections and like 21 tone Les Paul and all that stuff. I used to be that guy. I used to have all that stuff, and I just didn't care about it. Once I started, you play in a band for a while and you realize that you can do pretty much everything on one guitar with a couple of pickup switches or positions, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, I know there are other people that need more, but I just am pretty simple like that. So I don't really care about it. And I really don't like adding passive. So specific to this circuit, I don't like adding components to a passive guitar, because to me, it just takes away from the whole thing, which technically it does take away from the whole thing. I'm just not a fan of that. That's my opinion. But I want to know from y'all, as we're talking tonight, what of those various circuits and features, and do you care about coil splitting? Do you care about parallel series? Do you care about, I don't know, all those kind of crazy things, blends and this and that. I did a Gilmore mod on a single hum today, and shipped that out. So, things like that. Like, do you care about that stuff? Let me know.
David, on topic. After watching the video on cheap pickup parts, I am curious about your thoughts on Tonerider pickups. I have 2 sets of Tonerider pickups, the TRT1 Vintage Telly and AC2 Alnico Classic 2 set. I like the tone of both sets. I regret that I learned about the DAF set after purchasing the AC2 set. Ignoring personal preference, how would you rate their quality?
So don't regret anything. Like, play what you want to play. And, so don't worry about that. I have played a couple of sets of those that I've liked and a lot of sets that I haven't. So I don't know, that I am it's good. It would take something very special to have me enjoy a real budget set of pickups. And so, everybody used to say, oh, those Toneriders are awesome because they used to put them in Squires and, or they alleged to. And so, they're okay. I'm not, I guess I'm going to just be honest with you and say, I'm not the one to ask, because you're not going to get especially about the inexpensive stuff, you're not going to get an unbiased opinion from me, because personally, I think there's no excuse for cheap pickups. That's how I feel. So I'm not the one to ask, probably.
And then he said off topic, but it's
on topic.
It's not really.
That's why I left it in there.
I noticed last week when you were trying to remember heritage guitars that Leslie prompted you. Out of curiosity, how much experience does Leslie have with guitar gear? Thanks.
I mean, you've been sitting here with me for years and years.
Yeah.
We've been married for over 12.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this the entire time. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much anymore. Most of the guitars are not all over the house anymore, but they used to be. For the first probably year and a half of the YouTube channel, you actually sat across the desk from me. Like the camera was right here and she's working behind the camera, listening to me talk about all this stuff every day. I'm winding, because we had a little space. I'm winding pickups at one desk and she's sitting behind me at another desk. And we are supportive of one another. It's like how much I knew about makeup when you used to sell makeup. We're supportive of each other enough just as people and in our relationship that even if something overly technical doesn't interest you, you're still going to pay attention just so we can still complete each other's sentences, I guess.
And I guess what makes me think his question, though, like Heritage, we went there. So if it was something we did traveling, or if there were people that we met, that kind of stuff is important to me. Not the guitar part, but I remember meeting people and conversations and traveling.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So you would bring up things like Robert Keeley, for example, because we went and hung out with them.
Right.
You would bring up, all these various things that we've actually went and done from a human experience sort of thing too. Now, I suppose that's true too.
Yeah. I mean, if I would have answered the first part of his question or the second part, how much experience does Leslie have with guitar gear? None. I couldn't tune a guitar if you asked me to. Like, I literally know. I mean, I know what the parts are now, but
you couldn't change a string or any of that.
Pretty critical, but
pretty critical of
guitars, probably.
Like, what do you mean? This is new. I want to hear this.
This is not new.
No, I know, but keep going. This is interesting.
I don't know. I just feel like I have
this interesting.
Opinions because I've seen so much.
Like opinions about what? How they sound, how they look, all of the above?
All of the above, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. I guess you're right, because you do express them, but I've never, when you say it in a sentence, it's something that I haven't really quantified, I guess. Yeah, interesting question. There you go.
I think we answered it.
Yeah, I would say so.
Matt, good evening, Dylan and Leslie. Just wanted to give you a shout out on the P90s. I had very high expectations from your continued praise of them, and they did not disappoint. Honestly, they completely transformed the guitar, well above even my highest expectations. That's a fantastic review.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You can go leave that review on the website if you want. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I appreciate that a lot. I think the reason I brag about them so much, I know they're good, yes, but I love them and they are my favorite. It's the thing I get the most excited about, I think. And so that's what probably part of it. I'm having the most fun is part of the reason why I brag about them, besides the fact that I do think that they're very good. So thank you.
Super chat from Hans Moselle. Thank you for the super chat. He says, yay for ad free.
Thank you, Hans. I appreciate that very much.
His picture looks very enthusiastic too. Like, I want to give him a high five. That's what his picture looks like.
Nice.
All right. Zoltan. Hello, Leslie and Dylan. Congrats on becoming grandparents.
1 week.
Yeah. Question. When the likes of Fender or Paul Reed Smith commission an overseas factory to build a batch of, say, Strats or custom 24s to a price point, do you know what the spec sheet looks like? You want to do them one at a time? Or
no, keep going.
All of them? What is prescribed by the brand? What is left to the manufacturer? How are tolerances defined? How and by whom is the result QC'd, audited? Just curious about what goes on behind the scenes.
So this really depends on the arrangement. It depends on the company that they're using, and it depends on the arrangement between the brands, between the factory and the brand. So I know more about Fender stuff because I have people that I know at Fender that tell me stuff, but I do know some stuff a little bit. So Paul Reed Smith, and this is public information. You can watch videos about this. Paul Reed Smith uses Cortec, which is Cort, to make a lot of their SE stuff, like their Silver Sky, for example. They actually created an arrangement where they brought their management team and all of their quality control stuff. They are very hands-on and very specification heavy with Cortec on their products. When you buy like a Classic Vibe Squire, on the other hand, or a Stratasonic, I use the Squire Stratasonic for an example because we all know it accidentally came with an Epiphone bridge for a while. Fender uses like, I think it's 23 or 24 factories around the world to make all of their stuff. This is amps and everything, but they have a bunch of guitar factories in Indonesia and China and a bunch of places. And so what they'll do is they will go there and say, okay, this is designed by Fender. So here's a Strat or a Tele. It needs to cost $599. That plant on the Fender side of things, on the Strat side of things, the Squire side of things, that factory, the way the arrangement had worked the last time I talked to somebody about it, which was a couple of months ago, is the factory actually got to choose a lot of the specs. So where the parts came from, so what bridge, like what brand of bridge, like where in China they got it from, like what factory in China. Because you got to remember, in China, there's a bunch of people making like fake pickups, and not fake pickups, but you know what I mean? Like cheap pickups and cheap bridges, and right, there's all qualities all over the place. So those factories will say, okay, we built this Telecaster and here it is. It's made out of NATO wood. It's made out of this grade of maple for the fretboard or for the neck, and this grade of Indian laurel or whatever you want to use, whatever, for the fretboard. And this is the wood selection. This is all the stuff. And this is how much it will cost. Now you have a $599 guitar. And if Fender were to go and say, well, we want to switch it to a better pickup, we want it to be alder instead of NATO wood, then that plant would just be like, well, that factory would just be like, well, then it can't cost $599. We've spec'd it so that it can be $599. Most of the QC stuff for them happens over there. You take another brand, for example, and I don't know all the brands, but these are people that I've spoken with personally. You take another brand like Reverend, for example, and they get all the guitars from Korea because they're made in Korea, and they bring them over here. They take them out of the crate, and they do inspections and check them and quality control and all that kind of stuff. And I think PRS does the same thing. So it just depends on how important quality is to the brand and what lengths they go to do that. And you have to understand too. You have to understand something. If Squire is a $599 guitar, the gross profit for Fender in that guitar is probably about $100, maybe less. They don't make any money on those guitars. So then to bring that guitar over to the United States and pay an American to pull it out of the box, do a quality check on it, and put it back in the box, they're automatically losing money. They don't make any money on that guitar anymore. So it really depends on the price point of the guitar. For example, that's why Reverends are more expensive. Reverends are made at a different factory. They give them more time for quality control, but they are also not $599. They're also $1,200 and $1,500, even though they're a Korean guitar. So that is in time invested back into that guitar that makes it better. That's also why the PRS stuff isn't $599. You know, some of it is sometimes, but it depends on how much, because everything is time. Everything is time. So there you go. Couple ideas anyway.
All right, we're going to run through a couple things here.
Okay.
Van Shank Guitars is celebrating 51 months of membership. And he said, just dropping in for a quick hello.
He's been a member of my YouTube channel longer than I have, I think.
That's hilarious. Thanks, Ivan. Then couple more. Kyle Ketchamonia, thank you for the super chat. He said, I believe in trying out different things. I discovered flat wounds for that real hillbilly sound. And for knobs, I'm a simple man.
I get that. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, flat ones are cool.
And another super chat from Kyle. He said, thank you, Kyle. He said, guitar education is expensive, but worth it.
It's true.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. So Jim sent a message. That was a longer question. He was like, hey, we can't see you guys unless you drop the question after showing it. So that's why I took it down. And Hans Moselle, thank you, Leslie. We can see you guys now. High five. Because I said his picture looks like
nice.
a high five.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I'm entertained by small things. Rob. Hello, Leslie, Dylan. I recently heard some interesting definitions for budget and mid-range guitars. A budget guitar is one where you expect to upgrade pickups and other hardware. With a mid-range guitar, you expect all components to be playable without need for upgrade. I'm curious about your thoughts on this characterization. Thanks.
I've been giving that a lot of thought, and I'm trying to get away from using the term budget because what you're willing to spend on something is your budget. Budget is, to me, a misused word. So I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression. I really like what Matt's take on it is like the entry point guitar, like for each brand, like, and when we say entry level, we're not talking about beginner. We're talking about the entry level for the brand, right? So the entry level for a Volkswagen is a Volkswagen Golf or whatever their most basic product is. It's not because it's cheap. It's not because it's less than good. It's not because it's not as good as something else, but it's the entry point into the brand. And so for me personally, I want to take that perspective instead of worrying about budget, because people, if you are, fortunate enough to be able to afford a very expensive guitar, you may not be willing to spend money on a very expensive guitar because you may not feel that your abilities justify it. You may not feel that your time investment into the hobby will justify it. So therefore, you set a budget for a $400 guitar, even though you are fortunate enough to be able to spend $5,000 on a guitar if you want. So budget is what you allow yourself to spend on something. So I don't want to classify guitars like that personally. That's how I'm not going to do that on the channel anymore. I've been thinking about a lot about this because cost is so central to everything for so many people. This is why we were doing these videos the other day about like, this is what's in the guitar so you can make a decision on what's important to you. Sometimes to some people, parts of the guitar are more important to them than other parts of the guitar. So when you're modifying something, right? So mid-level guitars, to me, a mid-level guitar is $2,500. And that's not because I can afford a $5,000 guitar, because I can't. That's because that's where the price ranges of things are sliding up. And so instead of trying to get somebody to agree with me that a mid-level guitar is $2,500, I want to take that out of it and just and talk about where it is in the range for each brand, right? So Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Bugatti, right? Like, that's the range. I'm not a Lamborghini guy. I'm an Audi guy. But I still could be a Volkswagen guy. Well, we are. We have a Volkswagen too. So just because I have an Audi doesn't mean I don't want a Volkswagen, because I do. So that whole thing is sort of weird. I'm just like, where in the range as a user am I? And where in the range as a user are you? Money aside. And tell people what is involved in each of those places in the market, and then you can decide where you want to put yourself in the market. Instead of saying, is this a good budget guitar? Say, this guitar costs $500. Is it good? Yes. Who is it for? If you're looking for this, this, and this, then you will enjoy this guitar. If you're looking for this, this, and this, you may not enjoy this guitar. However, that doesn't make it a bad budget guitar. You see what I'm saying? So trying to really parse this stuff out and be more specific about it, and also not appear like super negative or talk down to anybody who, I don't even want to say can't afford it, who is not willing for one reason or another, whether it's the amount of money that they have available or the amount of money that they're willing to spend on a product. So I've been really trying to be thoughtful about this lately, give it a lot of thought. So anyway, it's a super tangent. I could go on a whole thing about it, but I've been reading a lot about it. I've been looking at other industries about it, because everything's sliding around right now. Everything's getting more expensive. The fountain pen industry is getting more expensive because gold is going up. The knife industry is going up because stainless is getting more expensive. You know what I mean? Like, you look at every little thing and the term budget is changing. So just trying to be thoughtful about it. That's super tangent, but it's been on my mind.
It's also very misleading if that is true, because anytime if you have to buy something and then immediately invest in it, you're probably spending more money than if you got the better product anyway. So
the funny thing about guitar stuff, though, is there's a lot of enjoyment that comes from that, right? So True. You may, on purpose, like when we do it, we buy a $500 guitar on purpose because it's fun to put new pickups in it and do all the stuff, right? I do like what he said about, like, you can expect a lot of times on very inexpensive instruments to have to do some work to them. But it's not just the price. I think it's the origin, where it comes from, who made it, how much care they put into it. Just like we were talking about a minute ago about Indonesian guitars. If you got a Squire versus a SE, they could cost exactly the same. But, it's more about learning the hobby and the community than it is about the product itself, in my opinion. I think, it's a very nuanced thing. I'm just trying to give it a lot of thought. Thanks for taking me down that whole rabbit hole, though.
Charles, good evening. Leslie and Dylan, thank you for sharing your evening with us. I hadn't seen him in the comments, but thank you, Charles. He's probably here.
I'm sure he's usually here.
All right, so I think if I go back to stuff I've grabbed, we'll pop back into the original conversation.
Yeah.
Robert Hastings. Hello, Leslie, Dylan, and friends. There was a time if you gave me a knob, I'd want to twist it. Not so these days. My amps stay pretty set, and the guitar volume and tone are really all I use.
Same.
Kyle Ketchamonia says, I love knobs. You do know I had to explain that to Bryson and Mackenzie when you made that joke in the text.
Really?
About the dresser.
Oh my God.
She was like Googling, like, they are called knobs, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stupidity brought me here.
Great.
Said, I gave this video a thumbs up based on the picture of the guitar alone.
Thank you.
Jay Valente says, I love me some knobs, buttons, and dials. It's why I got into electronics. Chris Hendricks says, who doesn't love some extra knobs? Kyle Ketchamonia also, he said, but I also, simplicity, depends on mood.
Yep.
Hawkman Hawk says, just a couple knobs with push pulls, though I do like the bass circuit on Jazz Masters. I set it for woman tone.
So
What does
you
that
like
mean?
the push pull thing? Woman tone is like
I've literally never heard that.
Oh really? So it would be like
In all of our 12 years.
So it would be like the neck pickup on a Les Paul with the tone knob turned down, and it would just be super like thick sounding, not a lot of highs. Think Carlos Santana.
So woman equals thick? What does that even mean?
No, I think it's like a vocal quality that people look for. I'll show you after.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I'll show you after.
Bob Elkin III says, eliminate the tone knob.
I'm going to write this down.
Chris Hendricks said, Built makes a guitar with 4 pickups and effects pedals on board.
I played it.
I was like, isn't that the shirt you just got?
It is.
What's funny is that was the newborn picture I have of you.
Because I wore the Built guitar t-shirt to the hospital.
So there's
that day.
a new baby in your arms and it says Built.
Yep.
I don't know. It just really was funny to me.
God, I love this pen.
Fox Guitars Rock says most people don't remember that their guitar has a tone knob.
I like mine.
Random Guitar. I'm just going in order at this point.
Do it.
Random Guitar says, howdy all, been away for a while. It's been a crazy few months. I'm in a new band, so I can join more often on Thursday evenings.
Oh, thanks, man. That's awesome. And congratulations on your new band.
Edgar Cesario, the less knobs and switches to be the better, helps me concentrate on actually playing and not spend all my time looking for my tone.
Option paralysis.
Daniel Zamora, thank you for shortening your name. First off, let's just stop there. Daniel Zamora says, what's the difference between the Classic 5 and the Bonneville pickups?
The Classic 5s are going to be a little lower output. And they are going to be a little, the Bonnevilles are going to be a little warmer, especially on the bridge pickup.
Jim Cunningham, if I design a pickup, how much would you charge me for making and testing it if I supply the parts?
That's not really my wheelhouse.
Then he said, more importantly, if I design a pickup, how much would you charge to tell me why it won't work?
If you tell me what the design is in the comments, I'll probably tell you why it won't work. There's a lot of people, I get a lot of those emails. I get a lot of those. Hey, if you did this and this and this, I'm like, it won't work. I get a lot of those emails. Yeah, it's not something that we really do. We're trying to really concentrate on our own brand right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've missed super chats while I was on the other side. I was on the other side. Super chat from Joey Dano Guitars. Thanks for the super chat, Doug. He says, sorry, I'm here, but can't comment. Looks like a comment to me. Love you guys. Martha and I will be up there the end of May.
Excellent. That sounds great time.
Tell her we have a grandbaby.
Yeah. And I have a guitar for you. And you should buy this other guitar. Then you would have 2 to pick up. Lithium Man, what's up, man?
Another super chat from Lithium Man. Thank you. He says, I just want a Veritone switch added to my ES345.
So is that a 355 thing? I don't remember which one is which when it comes to the extra 335 is, the extra ESs. I don't remember. I know the 333 has a rear control plate and it's solid, but I don't remember the other ones. 330, 333, 345, 355.
I'm sorry. I'm going to scroll back because I feel like okay, I think I'm good. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Joy Walker. Good evening. Personally, I feel like between 1 and 3 knobs is the sweet spot. I've got a Tele Custom with 4 knobs and it's just too many for me.
A Tele Custom. Oh, okay. A custom. Yeah.
Velugia Guitar Tech. I've found the fewer the better for me. I'm good with 1 volume, 1 tone, and nothing fancier than a coil split push-pull.
Makes sense.
Bob Elkin III said, I would like a push-pull pot that's a volume and works as a kill switch.
So the only problem with that, I'm just going to give you a little. The only problem with that is that'll pop and it'll make a noise. Well, and it won't be momentary. I guess if you don't want it momentary, that's okay. But yeah, I would rather have like a momentary switch for that. I have a guitar with a kill switch on it. I actually think it's neat.
John on 16 can't play any. Roddy, you mean I don't need 16 guitars?
No, you don't need 16 knobs. You need 17 guitars. That one right there.
Phil Grochel said it depends on the guitar. If it has 3 pickups, then volume, treble, and bass knobs, and a switch to cover each pickup, and a combo. So a 5-way is enough.
Huh. Okay.
I'm going to assume this is Dwayne, but I also had an aunt named Duane that spelled it like this, so I don't know what this person's name is. I'm going to go with Dwayne since we have primarily male audience.
Okay.
Pulling. How about a diagram of 2 Seymour Duncan humbuckers with 2 toggle switches to coil split and a kill switch?
You should be able to Google that pretty easily. Seymour Duncan actually has a very good resource of all of their wiring diagrams and stuff. And I'll tell you who of all these alternative ones. And I'll tell you another place that has some pretty good ones too is Lindy Freyland's blog has a lot of pretty good ones. I've stolen some, not stolen, but like, hey, I need to figure out how to do this. And those are the 2 places that I go to first if I cannot figure it out on my own.
You asked earlier, so Chris Endrick said the 345 had Veritone and stereo wiring. The 355 had Veritone only, mono, and fancier inlay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Super chat from Lithium Man. Thank you. He said, I typically see both 345s and 355s with Veritones. I simply got a new one that didn't come with it.
Oh, interesting. The stereo versus mono thing is interesting. I guess I didn't realize that. So did B.B. King's guitar, did that have stereo? Or what was that? Anyway, keep going. Somebody will jump in the comments and say, I don't remember.
There's a super chat. So 1 moment, please.
Mm-hmm.
Super chat from It's Victoria G.
Hello.
My Kiesel Leia made their Facebook pics of the day on Tuesday. Not here yet, but as a weight weenie, I'm excited for my headless Les Paul shape for ants.
Oh, that's super neat, man. That's cool when it gets featured like that. It's neat. It means that you
teaser.
Well, and it means that you picked, because you probably designed a lot of that, which means you probably picked a pretty cool guitar. If features and stuff, if they're sharing it, if you picked some ugly mongrel of a thing, they're not going to put it on their Facebook. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool.
That's funny. Mongrel. Graphite and guitars. My Carvin has micro switches for coil splits. I quite like them.
I do like a coil split.
Eric Koch says, I want more bass cut with increasing volume roll off. I had to figure out how to do it myself, which surprised me. It's so simple.
Yep. Just a capacitor and a resistor.
Jason Gale, yes, I want phase switches, 3 setting tone switch, 2 volumes, and 2 tone knobs.
Jeez. Okay.
Daniel Zamora says, I only like coil splits if they are good, like the center punch. I have it on a classic 57 set and it sucks, so I don't use it.
Yeah, they are bad. It's funny because I've made that pickup, right? And it works really well, the center punch. And I don't use it on a Les Paul style guitar, like on a 2 humbucker guitar. My jam for that is either a humbucker in the position, like a center punch in the neck position of a telly with a coil split, so you can still go back to a traditional sort of telly sound, or a single hum with the center punch in the bridge position, so you could kind of go back to a traditional Strat sound. That's the applications that I use it in, less so in like a Les Paul trying to sound like a Strat. Because if I want a Strat, I'll just grab my Strat. So, yeah.
So Chris Hendricks said Lucille was a 355, no stereo, but baritone, also no F holes.
I knew about the no F holes thing, but I did not know about the other part. Thank you.
And Curtis Chavez said Lucille has no stereo, but it does have baritone. BB put it in one position and then never touched it again.
That would make sense.
Lucille.
He's a great example of somebody who played gear that people trash on all the time, but his tone was so good. So like, why, same thing with Dimebag. Like Dimebag Darrell's tone sucked in my opinion. I can't stand it, but it was so amazing in context that you didn't think about the fact that you didn't like his guitar tone. I personally don't really like B.B. King's guitar tone, and I really don't like a Roland Jazz 120 or whatever he played through, or any of those weird amps that he used. I didn't like any of those. But it doesn't matter because in context, you're like, this is awesome.
Amazing,
yeah.
Matthew Altamere. I like 4 knobs with push-pulls. It's not necessary or needed, but I think it's cool to coil tap, out of phase, direct to bridge.
I like out of phase. I'll take that one. Probably more than coil splitting.
Hawkman Hawks. I have a single hum with 1 push-pull to split Super 8 and another to add in the neck pickup. Needed? Maybe not, but there if I want it.
Okay, so I have a PRS Fiore, and it has 2 push-pulls. One coil splits the bridge, and the other one turns on the neck pickup, like the Gilmore sort of thing. And I like all 3 single coil, and I like neck and bridge on together, which is super fun.
Random guitar. I've ended up using a Les Paul for most of what I play. I really like volume and tone for each pickup. I even modded a Jackson Dinky to add an additional volume and tone.
That's really interesting. I grew up a Fender guy, right? So, and I have Gibsons, and and even my Texas Toast, my Challengers. I have 2 Challengers, or 3, and those are separate volume controls, and I'm still getting used to figuring out how I would apply them more. Still, even after having them for quite a while.
Jason Gale said push-pull knobs are cool on amps. Chris Hendricks. I wired a Firebird with 3 pickups to a 3-way switch. The neck volume and tone handled the switch, and therefore the neck and bridge pickups. The middle pickup was wired bridge controls.
So that's really neat. I did a custom guitar one time I built with another guy, and we did a 3 pickup telly. So it was 2 telly neck pickups and a telly bridge pickup. And I did a push pull, so it was a regular telly wiring with a push pull to turn the middle on. And that was pretty neat.
Fox Guitars Rock says, Dylan, I agree about cheap versus expensive pickups. It's like always playing import copy guitars all the time. Unless you try something high end, you can't tell what you're missing until you do and can.
So you make a good point there, because this is something I'm also trying to be thoughtful about when I talk about this stuff, is that I don't want to say that beginners won't hear the difference and more experienced people will, because that sounds mean. But as you gain more experience and learn kind of what goes into everything, chances are, if it's important to you, you will start to hear more difference, and it will start to make more difference to you as you go, because you will have a refined taste to what you want. It's just like any other hobby, you know. You need the basic function at first, but then as you continue to dive into whatever hobby it is, you understand some more of the nuances. So it is the truth, and I'm going to spend more time talking about that too.
Vild Jugga. I only really need a pickup selector. As a metal guy, I don't dial back the volume or the tone knob. Coil split is fun because I don't have single coils, and then I'd want the knobs for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Gale said, I remember once making a wise ass comment about Leslie maybe hashing in Dylan gonna buy yet another guitar, and her answer was, why would I think that? Dylan is his own man and makes his own decisions. Sounds like something I would say.
It does.
Hogman Hawk says, my wife doesn't like guitars with furniture style finishes. Yeah, as she shouldn't.
Exactly. I only have one guitar that's fancy wood, and the only reason I have that is because it's a Slash. And you told me to buy it.
2 days take. I don't even like to use my tone knobs because I will forget they are down. And I'm like, what's wrong with guitar today? Sounds like that. Curtis Chavez, I put a single Van Zant humbucker in the bridge position of a Yamaha EG 112 and only a volume pot. The openness and purity of sound is beyond any tone pot switches I've ever heard.
Yep. The less components in a passive guitar, the more that will happen.
Graphite and guitars, you can really see how much Dylan and Leslie enjoy everything they do together by watching the pen videos. They just dig doing everything together. Very cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm not even in that many pen
Leslie's
videos.
going to do some more pen videos here pretty soon.
Who's Leslie? And why is she going to do videos? Can she get her voice back first?
No face.
Oh.
We've been doing a lot of no face videos over there. You told me you wanted to do the writing parts for me.
Yeah, but then I never did it, so I just...
Yeah, but we'll talk about this in the off-topic hour.
Okay. T-Bone. Good evening, Leslie and Dylan. Dylan, what do you play more during a given week? Electric or acoustic?
It depends. A lot of what I play is based on what I'm working on at the time. So I will play electric if I'm, like, for example, I'm going to play a bunch of electric tomorrow. Because I'm working on some videos and I'm going to be doing some demos and whatnot. If it's just for fun and there's no work involved, it's always going to be an acoustic. Yep.
Lamb chop. Hi, Dylan and Leslie. Dylan, does Fender do the same quality control on the new standard series as PRS does on the SE Silver Sky?
I don't know the answer to that, but if the past is any indication of the present, I would say no.
Dog Dr. Tim, have you ever seen or done a Strat pickguard with humbucker P90 single coil pickup arrangement?
Humbucker P90 single coil. No, I could though. We could do that. Oh, wait till you see this pickguard I built today. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Is it for Saturday?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was somebody's. It's for
No,
Saturday.
I had that material and I was
so
like,
pretty.
I'm going to build this. I think it's going to be cool.
Can you capture it in a photo?
It's hard. The depth of it is difficult to put in a photo. For those of you that follow me on Patreon, you've seen it and you know what I'm talking about. But you don't. I can't capture how cool this is. If you think it's cool and you're like, maybe I should buy that, I'm telling you, it's 5 times as cool as what I can capture in a picture. It's so neat. So cool.
Can you see him? No.
Let me check.
AJ Dungan says, I'm a high-end parts caster maker with the emphasis on quality pickups and hardware. Do I need to get him? Here,
yeah.
Just sit here.
I'll sit there and then, I think he needs to go out. He's standing by the door.
It's okay. Just mark them off. Undo the star when you go down the list.
Okay. Sorry, this is constant puppy management around here. Too many knobs. How about too many switches? I've seen people call out the Brian May switching system excessive, but I think it's intuitive. That's the only time I'm into complex controls. Yeah, so that's some phasing stuff and some pickup on and off. I think it's neat. I just don't have... I would rather have it on a regular slider switch, but I understand what you're saying for sure. Thoughts on using a Veritone? So we were talking about the Veritone thing and the ESs, right? So this is another thing. I personally don't have a use for it unless it is... so here's where I think I could use one. If I was playing with a couple of different fuzzes, then maybe my normal like overdriven tone and my normal clean tone would be on one capacitor and my fuzz tone would be on a different capacitor. That's a situation where I would use that, sort of like how I would play an Esquire, if that makes sense. But other than that, I don't know that I would necessarily use one, but they're really super cool. The concept's neat. They're a pain in the butt to build. I don't want to build one. Don't ask me to build one. I won't build it. Love two-tone, two-volume, but definitely something awesome about a single pickup and a single volume. Also, I'm commenting from Georgia with no internet and 1 bar of cell service. I'm committed. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Oh, Chicken Waller Farm. Thank you. Chicken Waller Farm, I'm right with you. You all, if you followed this channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm going to default to a junior, right? So all I need is a Telecaster on the bridge pickup. Hey, I get it. You get to take over either Seymour Duncan or EMG or DiMarzio. Who do you pick and why? Not EMG. Not DiMarzio, so it would have to be Seymour Duncan. I don't have a reason, except I'm not a DiMarzio fan. Kevin Weller, who works at Seymour Duncan, has been a friend of mine for many, many years before I was even a pickup builder. So if you ever watch Seymour Duncan videos, Kevin Weller he's like the brains. He's their head engineer. He's been with Seymour Duncan since they had like 2 employees. Kind of off topic on topic. He rode dirt bikes and he rode KTMs. And so in my previous life, when I was designing dirt bike parts for the power sports industry, he used to order parts from me maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a year. He used to order parts from me. And so him and I got to be friends when I was in the dirt bike business before I even had my guitar company. And so, and even after I started designing pickups, he would still call me and he would help me out with stuff. So I've kind of a personal connection to that side of it. I also feel like the design ethos of Seymour Duncan is closer to what I believe in than DiMarzio or definitely EMT, because I'm not an active person. So I would say when you look at, this is an interesting question. When you look at the custom shop Seymour Duncan stuff, to me, that's the closest to what I do of maybe anybody. Like I feel like what we do and what they do in their Seymour Duncan custom shop is very similar, much more than a lot of the other brands. And so I think that's a neat question, and I've never really given it that much thought. So I have this quote unquote friend. Apparently, thumbs down Frank didn't like that answer. So I have this friend who tightened the Strat Super 90 too far and broke a magnet. Could he buy those magnets from you? I don't think so. No. Let's see. Puppies are the best. Okay, so there we are there. I have huge hands. With limited real estate on the face of a guitar, lots of knobs suck. That makes sense. I would like a Strat with Jag switches. Yeah, that's an interesting concept, actually. What mixer interface? Who's out? Who does he think is outside? Zeba has discovered his bark lately, and he is like wanting to tell us about everything now, even when there's nothing there. Dylan Tuckstone, what mixer interface are you using? I am using the Mackie DLZ Creator. There's a video about it on the channel. And it is 8:59.
2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. See the DLZ question down there? Or the Mackie, the music interface question? That's where I am. So right at the end.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're all caught up and you have 2 minutes to go.
We are all caught up.
Good job. You even unmarked them.
I did unstar them. Oh, and if you're wondering about the software we're using, we use Ecamm Live. Yep.
Super chat from Kyle Ketchamonia. He says, what about kill switches? Always wanted one.
They're super cool. So I'll use the last minute to explain. When you do a kill switch, use a momentary. That's the best way to do it. And the way you want to wire it, a lot of people think that you want to break the connection to the output jack. But what you actually want to do is you actually want to short the hot wire. So basically what you're going to do with your kill switch is you're going to wire it so that you have a wire going from the ground to the switch, and then from the switch to the hot on your output jack. When you short the hot, it doesn't pop. When you break the hot to an open, it pops when it reconnects. So it'll be quieter if you short the hot to ground. There you go. Little pro tip for the kill switch wirers of the world.
Cool. It is 9 o'clock.
It is 9 o'clock, which means it is off topic hour. It also might mean that it is Zoomy time for Puppy. He's crazy. Hey, no gay stuff. The puppy's also trying to find himself right now, so there's a little, there's a little identity crisis sometimes with the other dog, so we have to kind of talk him out of some things. So at 9 o'clock, we go off topic hour and we talk about everything else in the world but guitars. If you have any questions at all that you want to ask us that don't have to do with guitars, we will probably answer it. If you want to ask a guitar question after 9 o'clock, it has to be in a super chat.
Like Lithium Man did.
Excellent.
Super chat from Lithium Man. Thank you. He says, I've become a bit of a George Benson fan recently, and now I just really want a Venetian single cut hollow body Gibson with 2 hums. Something like a Birdland or L5. Those need to make a comeback.
Yeah, so my dad wants that too. My dad actually wants an ES-175. He wants a black one with gold hardware, which would be awesome. Hey. Calm down. No Chewbacca noises right now.
What's off topic?
Okay, so the off-topic thing that I have that I was going to tell you, we were talking about earlier, and I said I put it off. Okay. So we'll start this.
Okay.
Is I want.
You're gonna have to give them something to entertain them.
I know. I wonder if we should give them some peanut butter or something. So I want to, on the other channel, I would like you to do your own pen reviews. But what I want to do is I'll curate them. We can make it a conversation, or at least, or maybe a formatted list of questions or something where you just like go through and answer the question. So you don't have to give it any thought because I know this is not in your wheelhouse to do. But I would like you to give your own input on, some of the pens and actually some of the pocket knives too, because you use them differently than me. So that we can cover all these. But I buy like that pen I bought for you today, and I did an unboxing of it, and this is what made me think of it. I would never choose that pen. And all the nibs that you like, I would never choose. Not never. I have some like those, but you like them so much. What you like, and when you're like, hey, I have a wish list of stationery items, stuff that's just not on my list. And so instead of me doing those reviews, I'd like to figure out a way that you do them. I know you don't like really being on YouTube in that way, but I'm not doing faces. So we're just doing the overhead shot, sort of like Mike Madison does on, all those people where it's just hands. Mm-hmm. And so I think
you're going to buy me some more rings.
I mean, sure. But I think that I want to do that. So I might make a list of, I'll go through your pen purchases and go through and see if we can make a list and figure out a way to curate a list of questions that covers the most important. Here's what made me think of it.
I'm listening.
Metal Complex. When you watch Metal Complex knife reviews, he does it the same exact way every time. It's very formulaic.
Right.
So it's like, this is the knife. This is who made it. This is the length. This is the blade thickness. This is and he goes through the whole thing, and it's very formulaic, and it's very good. And even Fig Boot on pens with the pen stuff does the same thing. He's like, these are the parts and features of the pen. Here's the measurements. Here's the size comparisons. Boom. And so if we could figure out a way to do that so that you could contribute to that more. And I think people want to hear your perspective on stuff also. I'm left-handed, so I always have a different view of anything, whether it's pocket knives or anything we do. It's, it doesn't matter. Left-handed is always different. So anyway, it was just on my mind lately. Okay, you can check for questions. And this is a conversation that we could have at some other time, but we also have these conversations all the time. So, hey, Bobs.
All right. Chicken Waller Farm says, have you ever tried Tomatin 12-year-old Scotch aged in bourbon and sherry casks?
I've not tried that brand. I have tried bourbon and sherry cask aged Scotch before, but I have not tried that brand before. I've not heard of that brand.
I could be saying it wrong.
Also, I know that New Zealand guy is not here because he is going across the strait to Australia on a boat right now.
Okay.
And he lost reception, and that's why he had to stop watching Texas Toast earlier.
Interesting. It's very specific.
But I still have not gotten the Scotch that he sent me.
Is it stuck in customs or something?
I don't know.
Do you have tracking?
I think so. But that's... it just made me realize I thought it was stateside last week, and I still haven't seen it.
Let's see. Hans Moselle said, Dylan, you are a gentleman and a scholar. What knife do we have today?
I've got a couple. So the one that I'm fidgeting with is oh goodness. This is a Concept, and it is called the Kratos, and it's Damascus and Timascus.
It's definitely not showing.
And titanium. Yeah, this is a beautiful knife. You can't see.
Towards the top, towards you. No, I mean tilt. Tilt more, tilt. Okay. It's just this small window. Okay.
It's hard to see. But what I'm carrying is I just got this new ZT. I need to do a full review on it. I did the unboxing on it.
You had that last week.
Yeah, I've been carrying this a bunch. The ZT-0512. It's an automatic zero tolerance, which they haven't really had that many automatics. And it's brown Cerakote and titanium and micarta. And it's such a great work knife. I'm really enjoying it because it's like getting beat up and just feels nice and worn, and it's fun. It's fun like that. I like that. So yeah, those are my two knives of the night.
Levi Maynard says, are you still in touch with John at Odessa?
I've not spoken to him recently. I want to say him and I had a conversation about 2 months ago, was probably the most recent. But yes, he's a cool dude, man. He's the guy. If you call me and you say, I have some wacky pickup, or I have some Dan Electro, or I have some, whatever, any pickup that needs to be restored or whatever, he's the guy that I refer you to, because he loves doing that stuff. He's like a retired city employee, and so he has a lot of he loves making pickups, but it's more about the hobby of it to him and the exploration of it than it is like making a living. So he he likes to do some of the wackier stuff.
Graphite and Guitar says, Dylan, have you guys tried Adorama inks yet?
Yes.
It's a local Florida company. My wife started collecting them. Really nice pigments and colors.
Yeah, and I met them last year at the Atlanta Pen Show, actually. Yeah, they have some neat colors. They do. They do have some neat colors.
Kyle Ketchamonia says, I'm really into collecting horror action figures like Jason and Michael Myers.
Interesting.
I didn't even know they made action figures.
I didn't either. I've never really been a horror person. I'm more a psychological thriller person.
I feel like you stole that from me.
Oh, no. I've always been that.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That predates you.
IbG, what product doesn't come in a left-handed version that you wish would?
Wow. I don't know because I adapt things that are left-handed. Doesn't come in a left-handed version. Skyline R34. Some cars from that are right-hand drive only. No, I don't know. All my all my firearms and stuff, I've adapted to shooting left-handed, so I don't really even think about that anymore. I write left-handed even with a fountain pen, which a lot of people think is crazy. I play guitar right-handed. I don't know. Can you think of anything that I've ever had I have a hard time with this because it's left-handed and I wish it was right-handed?
Do you mean the opposite?
Or yeah.
Do you have a hard time with scissors?
Not usually.
I mean, I can't use scissors left-handed.
You can't use left-handed scissors?
No, I can't use scissors left-handed, but you do, don't you? Yeah.
And I can use right-handed scissors left-handed. It's no big deal.
I didn't know they made different scissors.
They do.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I can't think of anything really. Now I'm going to do something tomorrow and it'll make me think.
I do feel like you told me something recently and you were like, this is made for right-handed people. I don't remember what it was though.
I don't make sushi. Sounds so crazy. I don't make sushi, but there are certain Japanese kitchen knives because they're single-sided bevels.
Yep, you're right.
That have to be handed to you, otherwise. But I would probably just cut right-handed then, because I'm
pretty ambidextrous.
It's funny because it's not necessarily that I'm an ambidextrous person as much as because I'm left-handed, I've just taught myself to do things right-handed because it's a right-handed world. But I'm so obviously not a child anymore, so I've literally just adapted so many things that I don't know that I think about it anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Because I play hockey right-handed. I do all.
It's very interesting that was your perspective because in any kind of exclusion, it typically becomes so expected that you don't notice it. We just had an incident at work and I was less than impressed at the way something was handled.
Uh-huh.
And I told the girl who was the subject of said interaction, I was like, I'm so sorry that this happened to you and that you had to defend yourself twice. That shouldn't have happened. And I was like, it really actually pissed me off. And she was like, I need to learn to be more mad. She was like, I didn't even think about it, but you're right. That was wrong. But she was like, I'm so used to having to fight for herself and being left out that she was didn't even see it.
So, that's interesting. So because I have this eye that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So for those of you that don't know, and you may have seen it sometimes in videos or whatever, that my right eye is lazy. And so I'm more left-eyed than I am left-handed. So there have been many things in life that I wish that I had both eyes for, and that I've had to compensate for that more than actually my hand. And then also operating in a world with a disability as well, not my eye, something else, having to adapt, like you say, and not being mad about it. Like, because I'm not going to be an activist about every little thing. So you're right. What you end up doing is just compensating for it instead of wanting something to change so that you don't have to compensate for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I have had to do a lot of that. And maybe that's why I don't think about any of this stuff, because
you're just going to make it happen anyway.
Well, if we sit here and think about it, there are many things in my life that I have had to do that with.
Yeah.
Probably the more I sit here, the more I think about it, and the more there are, as far as, and, again, we don't get into politics and all this kind of stuff, but being a minority with one eye that works, that's disabled, that is left-handed, like you could go all kinds of
an anomaly.
Yeah, you could go down all kind of roads, but I don't know. I just make life happen. So I don't necessarily, I would rather just do it than feel sorry for myself about it or worry about that it didn't happen or couldn't happen.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's interesting.
So related to that, Daniel Zamora said, is there something you do right-handed that you feel you would do better because you're a lefty? JJN plays right, but feels he has nicer touch because his dominant hand is fretting.
I agree. So I've always wondered that if I would be better if I'd played left-handed, but I really feel that I can fret better with my left hand, and so that I'm glad that I play right-handed. Yeah.
Dog Dr. Tim said, Figboot is so droll. He's really quite funny.
Brianna hates watching his videos. She's like, this guy is so boring.
You know why she doesn't like him?
Why?
Because she can see him reading.
Well, so he is that's the thing. He's very formulaic and he's very prepared.
Yeah.
And he actually, I've watched his behind the scenes stuff, and he writes a script for every video. And I think what he does at this point, after doing it for 10 years, is he literally has the same script and he pulls out and puts in, he copies and pastes, inserts in the things, and he stays to the same script. But you're right. He does read a prompter. He has one of those iPad things he reads a prompter.
Nice.
But he's so close to it. So here's the problem. This is coming from a production side. His prompter, I think, is only about this far away from his face. And so you can see his eyes moving. If your prompter is, so like in a newsroom.
It's across the,
yeah, it would be about 8 feet or so away. And so once it's about 8 feet there's a crossover point. And I used to know this, and I don't know what it is now. And maybe somebody who does video production in the comments knows, but I can't remember what it is. But if it's further than a certain distance, you won't be able to see your eyes move, is what it is. And I can't remember what that, but it's like 8 feet, 6 or 8 feet.
Fox Guitars Rock says, Dylan, since you're a lefty, do you use or have or buy lefty sheaths for your knives?
Oh, that's an interesting one. No, I actually carry right-handed. So this is in it. Okay. This is interesting. So I carry right-handed, and depending on what I'm doing, I then just transfer to my left hand. So let's say, I have this knife in my pocket and I'm going to go ahead and cut a box open. I go like this and I cut the box right-handed. If I'm going to do more precision things where I feel like I need the coordination of my left hand, I literally will open the knife and turn it to my right hand. Or it depends on the knife. But also, if there's a knife that... Hey, quiet. So let's say you have a pocket knife that is, I think I do things, well, I do them about the same. So this is a right-handed knife it's a frame lock. And I do it about the same with both hands. I've just taught myself, I guess.
Weird.
Yeah.
They're crazy. Graphite Guitar says toothbrushes are an issue if right-handed, for me anyway. I didn't know toothbrushes went a certain direction.
I didn't know they did either. We have electric ones and they're just round on the end, so I don't think about that.
Matthew Altamere is asking about a can opener.
Just use it right-handed. Yep.
Toilet handle, Hans Moselle. Are those on the left side?
They're on the left side,
Yeah.
I think.
Do people flush the toilet from behind them?
Like I don't know.
I don't know either. That's weird.
That's an interesting question.
Our toilet flushes on the left.
For those of you that shoot pistols, I don't change my magazine. So I actually, this is an interesting thing. So instead of reversing my magazine release, I actually use this finger. So when I want to eject a magazine, I don't use my thumb. So for those of you that are right-handed, right, you shoot like this and you go to eject the magazine with your thumb and the magazine comes out. I actually don't reverse the magazine release and I just use this finger. I use my middle finger. And so I'm in my grip. I use my middle finger and I pop it like that and it comes out. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I've just adapted so many little things and I've tried to switch it. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Grochel said, here's a weird one. I write left-handed, but hold a phone with my left hand and right tap with my right hand.
Okay. So here's a weird one. Along with that, what ear do you use when you're on the phone?
Me?
Yeah.
Right?
I use my left ear. If I use my right ear on the phone, it feels freaking weird.
What
I am
does that
like,
have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Oh.
You should be able to hear the same with both ears.
Yeah, but your hearing might not be the same in both ears.
If I talk out of my... But this is so weird. Okay. You know, I have Sony XM5 headphones, like the nice Sony headphone. And I'll be walking around the house listening to a podcast. You go to talk to me and I flip the right ear off to listen to you.
Okay.
But if I want to answer the phone, I use my left ear. That is a totally dumb thing, but it's...
So you're saying you don't really listen to me? Is that what you're saying? And your phone calls are more important? That's what I'm hearing.
Maybe.
Fox Guitars Rock says, I'm left-handed and I catch with my left and throw with my right. And I play goal in hockey, wear blocker on right and catch left.
You wear blocker on your right and you catch left. Okay, so hockey is whatever hand is down is the hand you play with, right? So I actually play right-handed hockey. I bat left and I catch with my left hand and throw with my right hand, but throw a football with my left hand. So I'm all over the place. Yeah, weird. I've tried to play hockey left-handed, with left hand down, and I can't do it. Cannot do it. But that has a lot to do for me more with I think that more has to do with my eye, because it's easier for me, like, okay, so those of you that play hockey, you know that you're more natural, you have a more natural turn. And when I play hockey, your natural turn should actually be into your stick, but mine's not. Mine's actually backwards. Mine is this way. So it's weird. I don't know. I don't know. I'm weird, I guess.
Duh.
What a crazy conversation to have in off-topic hour. Left-handed versus right-handed.
Hans Moselle said, is anyone going to check out the blood moon tonight? It starts at 2:26 a.m. Eastern. It's a total eclipse.
Maybe. That, right? It depends. So
I think it's clear tonight.
I'm going to text Brianna and see when she gets home. If she gets home and it's late and I'm still up, then maybe. I don't stay up that late usually when she comes home that late, but she texted me earlier and she's like, I have an idea that I want to do, and I've never heard from her again. So,
well, she must not be working really hard because she texted me earlier and was like, can we plan another trip?
Oh, really?
I didn't respond.
Apparently they were really slow last night. So
I didn't respond. I was like,
I guess I'm dog sitting.
Somebody's got to do it.
I need to do a review video of my new knife sharpener.
Yes, you do.
That thing is amazing.
Oh, so then people are talking about their ears. Oh, first, Bob Belden said, the only time I flush behind me is when I eat Taco Bell. That's funny. I still want Taco Bell. Phil Grochel, left ear too, LOL. Chris Hendricks, I think we lefties tend to be rather ambidextrous. Vild Jugga, I don't get why left-handed people can't use standard scissors. I can use scissors with my left hand better than left-handers.
So there's a thing with that. So
let me finish really quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Fox Guitars Rock, left ear here too, because I hold my phone in my left, I guess. Hogman Hawk says, wife says she uses left ear and right ear feels funny. She is left-handed who only uses it for writing. Okay, now you can talk.
So I think scissors are not that big a deal anymore. I think because they make scissors more ambidextrous. In the old days, like when we were kids, I remember being like in elementary school, and there was left-handed and right-handed scissors, and they were different colors. And there would be like everybody had right-handed scissors in the class, and there'd be like 2 left-handed scissors, and like the 4 left-handed people would have to share them. Because I grew up, I mean, in the 70s and 80s, they were still trying to force people to not be left-handed. And so I was like, I remember that. So when you put your thumb, it was about the thumb. When you put your thumb into scissors, there would be like a hard angle or like a softer angle on one side.
Yeah.
And so then it would turn the scissors a weird angle. And it wouldn't work. But now I think you go buy scissors and they're like symmetrical almost, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. I don't really think about that a whole lot. There are certain cameras, because I have a left eye dominant, there are certain cameras that give me trouble. I know what it is. When she gets back, she's handling dog stuff. When she gets back, I'll tell her what it was that we were talking about the other day. Dylan, it's automatic. You dial with your right finger, thus holding the phone with your left, then up to the left ear. Okay, I get that, but the thing about it is it's actually I don't care about that. It's what I hear differently, I think, with both ears. I cut food with a knife using my right, but use a fork with my left. So I cut when I'm food prepping in the kitchen, I'll use my left hand, but when I'm eating, I use my right hand. Let's see. Yeah, it has to do with the way the scissor handle design. Okay. One of the things I figured out that drives me crazy. I'm sitting here staring at it the whole time. ARs. Because when I fire an AR, it ejects on the right side, which means it goes across my face.
Yep.
So that is one thing that would be nice if there was a completely left-handed AR-15. But other than that, that's the only thing I could think of.
Did you read Dan Andrade's about dialing?
Yeah.
So what's funny is he's right. When we had... I had a... You just used your right side.
No, I know. I was playing.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember having a rotary phone, so I definitely used my left then, so I could use my right hand.
I would dial a rotary phone with my right hand. I would tell you that right now. If I was going to dial a phone,
That's
I would
not rotary, but yeah.
No, but even a touch tone.
Yeah.
Even this. So if I'm sitting, this is another thing. If I'm sitting in front of
well, you mouse right-handed.
And I mouse right-handed, yes. So if I'm sitting in front of like a mixing board, I'm going to be right-hand dominant for sure. But it is also designed right-hand dominant, right? Like, so these sample pads are on the right side. They're not on the left. The mute button is on the right side, not on the left. Like all the monitor controls and headphone volume and all the stuff is on the right, not on the left. So your brain just, over time, you just have to develop to it. It's whatever. I'm cool with that, though. I don't care. Yep. And I've had to figure out how to do things. So one of the things, because I have this lazy eye, what people don't, you might take this for granted, you might not. If you have this too, you might know. But I have almost zero near field depth perception. So, it's very difficult for me.
You gonna come say hey?
Hey, bud. Come here, bud. I'll give you an example of near field depth perception problem. I cannot play tennis because I can't tell when the ball. So if I'm looking at the ball, I would play tennis left-handed. But if just to illustrate this in the camera, if the ball's coming across my field of vision, I can't tell if the ball is here or here or here. I can't tell that. I can tell lined up wise. That's why I shoot, because I'm really good with a pistol or a rifle because I can use one eye, and I'm really, really good. But when it comes to depth perception stuff, if I shoot a free throw, it will hit the back of the hoop or the front of the hoop. It'll be perfectly lined up, but it'll hit the back of the hoop or the front of the hoop, or maybe go in, and that's a chance. That's I can play pool. Anything that I can line up and angles, I can do, but depth, I cannot. And so it's just been a thing that I've always...
Well, and a pool table's controlled. So once you know,
yes,
that makes sense.
It's all about angles. Yeah. That's all about angles. But it's always been... So that's been more of a problem for me than anything else. Yeah. But what I was about to say is, a lot of the things that I do with my right hand, it's because I can see that the eye works, because my eye is crooked, I have like huge, like I can see both my hands right now, like behind my head. So I have really good peripheral vision, but like right here is sort of, I can see my hand obviously, but it's not the same on this side. So I have been able to compensate and been able to do things. I can do things without seeing it on this side better. So like if I could actually do things. If I'm going to reach for this glass, I could actually do it better with my hand, with my eyes closed than with my eyes open. Like that. I can actually walk around the house with my eyes closed and not stub my toe, open my eyes, and will stub my toe. 100%. Yeah, she knows.
Yeah, when you were like, I can do, what did you say? I can do anything, whatever. And I was like, except walk.
except walk. And it's always my right foot because it's that side. It's always my right foot. It's slammed. I mean, I've broke my pinky toe.
That pinky toe one
yeah. Day. Oh, I've lost the nail on it a bunch of times. Yeah. Yeah.
About toast.
Okay. She's been fighting a losing voice and she's about done. And it is 9:35. You guys have been awesome. This is great. You may see a video from me tomorrow, or it may be, you will definitely see one on Saturday. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the super chats. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next time.